Hi, I'm Chelsea Vale, co-founder of Barsky Vale Designs and co-creator of the Woombie Bili Pod. The Woombie Bili Pod is a 360-degree swaddle that was designed specifically for Bili babies, the infants and preemies in the hospital that are undergoing phototherapy treatment for their bilirubin levels. The Woombie Bili Pod is a mesh version of the original peanut-shaped Woombie that allows for range of motion in the shoulders and the hips. The Woombie Bili Pod allows for 96 to 98% of light to reach the baby's skin. If you notice, even our mesh is mesh, so this will not interrupt treatment. We have our SGS testing that does show 94% off of a subject versus on a subject, it is 96 to 98%. The Woombie Bili Pod also features a double zipper. You can undo a little bit of the top to allow for the EKG leads to come out of the top, perhaps an IV, or if the IV is on the foot, which is very common with infants and preemies, then you can access the infant from the bottom and allow those leads to hang out from here. Also the pulse ox lines, or it would be very easy to do a diaper change or access the ID bracelet that would be on the ankle. Now, I was fortunate enough to see the Bili Pod in action last week. I went to visit a hospital and brought the Bili Pod with me for a mother who had just had a new baby and was a little bit taken back that her second child was going to have phototherapy as well. It was not what she was planning on. Mother of a toddler, just had a new baby, is already ready to get home and begin transitioning into life as a mother of two. Unfortunately, she was still in the hospital. So I stopped by and I brought the Bili Pod to see if I could bring her a little bit of comfort. And the baby was wrapped up in the mesh that was provided by the hospital that went over the Bili lights. It was kind of like a Bili pad that the baby was on. And what was great about the Bili pad is that it did allow the baby to be either in the crib, the isolette, or in the bed with a family, or perhaps even being fed and still receiving its treatment. What was uncomfortable, though, is that the baby was starting to develop a little bit of a rash on his side body and also on his back from the hospital mesh, which was not very comfortable. It was very tough on that brand new delicate skin. And I encouraged her to unwrap the baby, keep it on the pad if you'd like, and we placed the Bili in this. Now, when we first brought the baby out from underneath the swaddling that it had a whole heap of swaddling on it. When we first brought the baby out, immediately he did what most babies will do when they're unwrapped or when they're new. They arch their backs, they splay their hands and fingers, and they begin to cry. And I had already let the mother know he'll probably cry when we unswaddle him because babies don't like to be unswaddled. They're used to being in utero where they have tight quarters and they're contained and they're kept warm and comfortable. And when we unswaddle them and they arch, they're letting me know, hey, I feel like I'm falling. I'm kind of lost in space. I'm not comfortable with this. But what I was really proud about is the moment that we put that sweet little baby in the Bili Pod, he stopped crying. I was in awe of it, and so was the mother. She said, wow, I mean, you said that he was going to stop crying, but I didn't think that it would be instant. It didn't require pacifying. It didn't require feeding. It didn't require anything else. All it was he was able to get his hands back to midline. We were creating boundaries around him that made him feel back at home, right? Which originally was the womb. We wrapped him up in the Woombie Bili Pod, and he instantly calmed down. He also was able to bring his hands to midline. You'll notice right here, this baby started with hands at the side, which is how we always suggest people to get on the Woombie Bili Pod, but it's snug right here. And then as the baby wants to find its own comfort, they might bring hands to midline like this. Some babies will even bring their hands up to kind of a field goal position like this. All of that is perfectly fine, and they're still being contained within the swaddle. He also was able to bring his legs up into kind of a froggy position, which is where he was comfortable with. But if he wanted to kick and move or even cross his ankles, he was able to within the limits of the Woombie Bili Pod. Apparently the staff was also very excited about the Bili Pod because they saw how comfortable the baby was. He did have an accident on his Bili Pod, and his mother messaged me and said that he was very upset to lose the swaddle temporarily while they needed to wash. A lot of times we get emails at Barsky Vale Designs. info@barskyvaledesigns.com is our email address. We get emails regarding washing, and I'm here to tell you that we did pass OSHA standards for hospital sanitation. So all of our swaddles can be washed at extremely high heat and dried at high heat. And the Woombie Bili Pod could even be bleached, because if you're a neonatologist or a nurse or even a mother of a Bili baby, you know that Bili babies do use the restroom very frequently. And so we do recommend 2 to 3 of these for the baby, but it can be bleached because it comes completely in white. And it's not going to damage the shape or the size or even the function of the swaddle. The Woombie Bili Pod comes in preemie and also comes in small, which is newborn to 3 month. It can be used in mother baby units or NICUs or hospital units around the country. And all of our pods can be purchased at woombie-medpods.com. That's WOOMBIE medpods.com. We also have some photos on our website that we encourage you to go and look at to see how the Woombie Bili Pod is being used in hospitals already. If you'd like to email us at info@barskeyvaledesigns.com, I'm happy to send our SGS testing report to show that our Bili Pod does pass the standards for luminosity. And in fact, we've been commissioned by a couple of other companies to design a pod specifically for their Bili product. This is a product that is really saving babies around the globe by allowing them to continue with treatment without disrupting their stay in the hospital, without disrupting them psychosocially. So with the Woombie Bili Pod and with all of our Woombie Med Pods, we are promoting healthier development overall for infants and preemies. We are supporting their physical development, their mental development, but most importantly, we're helping them psychosocially, and we're reducing the stress from hospitalization. Please go to woombiemedpods.com. Thank you.